Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Combo Breaker 99. I'm back with another video. All right, y'all, this is a video I was going to do a few days ago after seeing this Kayla Harrison interview, but I've been kind of busy, so yeah, I'm going to do it now for y'all. But almost a week ago, Kayla Harrison, she did this interview on MMA Junkie. She was asked a few questions about when she's coming back to the octagon, will she return to featherweight, will she possibly do some cross-promotion fights, which led to the big question that everybody asked, would she fight Cris Cyborg? And Kayla Harrison gave the same answer, that she's not afraid to take a Cris Cyborg fight, that she wants to fight Cris Cyborg. And of course, I was just scrolling through the comment section like I'm usually doing, and guess who pops up in the comment section? Cris Cyborg. Cris Cyborg, she calls her out. You know, Cris Cyborg says Cris versus Kayla, Bellator versus PFL, with a little prayer emoji, basically saying, hey, let's make this fight happen. This fight can happen. I'm hoping for this fight. And that's the thing about Cris Cyborg, man. Like, anytime somebody calls her out and they tie her name to her, she's going to seek you out. You know, whether she actually calls you out in person, calls you out on Twitter, or calls you out in the comment sections of a YouTube video, she's going to call you out. And it's a good strategy on her part on YouTube, because her fans will see it. And when they see it, they'll like the video, reply, and, you know, they'll petition for that fight against whoever called her out. So with that being said, you know, with these certain moves that Kayla's making as far as opponent selection and some of the organizations that she chooses to go to, my question is Kayla ready for a Cris Cyborg fight? Is she ready to call her out the way she's calling her out? In my opinion, it's still a hard no. It was a hard no 2 years ago, and it's still a hard no, because I feel like Kayla is in no way ready for a fight with one of the toughest skilled fighters in MMA, WMMA or MMA. You know, now, will Kayla ever be ready to call out Cris Cyborg? With the right approach, she would be. You know, but I feel right now that the path that she's taking, the opponent selections that she's making, none of these fights that she's taking is really leading up to a path with Cris Cyborg. You know, especially after her last fight in Invicta, I felt like that was kind of a step back for her. I mean, granted, she made a nice move down to 145, then she looked good physically, but that was definitely not an opponent of Kayla's caliber at this point. You know, she should really be looking for the big tests in whatever organization she goes to, whether it is Titan FC, Invicta, LFA, any of these other side organizations that she's going to. You know, we all want to see her go to Bellator, but if she's going to go to these other organizations, she definitely needs the best test from all of them. You know, especially if you want to tie your name to legends like Cyborg, and she mentioned Amanda Nunes. So every step she takes should be a step towards a path that makes us say, okay, I can eventually see Kayla taking on someone like Cris Cyborg, you know, in a year or two. Oh man, like, yeah, looking at her the way she dispatched with this girl, she may give Cris Cyborg a tough fight. You know, that's the type of stuff that we want to be able to say. But honestly, I don't see that if she continues to take on the same type of fights that she's doing over the next year. You know, so if she was to call out Cyborg now and put pressure on Cyborg and put pressure on herself, and the fight was to happen like in 2021, then that would be a bad move on her career. You know, that would definitely be a bad move on, you know, stamping her legacy. You know, if she was to stamp her legacy, or she wants to stamp her legacy, but you call out Cris Cyborg now, and then say if you take the fight and you lose horribly, then that would kind of mess up your path, you know, physically and psychologically. So with that being said, another question I have is, does Kayla even need Cris Cyborg? In my opinion, no. You know, I really don't feel like she needs Cris Cyborg, not at all. I think Kayla's in her own lane. You know, she's in a lane of her own right now, but since she's called her out, then she kind of needs her. But if she would just kind of forget the Cris Cyborg fight, go on her own path, then I don't think she needs it. You know, she's still developing as a fighter, still needs names on the resume to build her rep. And to me, she's in the beginning of her career. You know, she still hasn't proved anything that makes us say she can matches up with Cris or Amanda. You know, she needs to continue doing what she's doing, because Cris and Amanda, they're towards the end of their career. You know, they can retire right now if they wanted to. They've done everything they needed. Their path is established. You know, they're at the top. You know, so somebody like Kayla Harrison, her path is still being created. You know, so if she wants to have that path like them, or even lead up to the path, she needs to lay the groundwork down. You know, because a fight with Cris Cyborg this year or next year, to me, is still unrealistic. You know, I mean, maybe the year after it would be more so realistic as far as just putting that pressure on Cyborg, but skill-wise, I still think she wouldn't be ready in like 2 years. You know, so until then, I feel like whenever somebody brings up the name Cris Cyborg, she should just ignore it, stop calling it out, and just do her. If she would just do her and find her own path, even when these interviewers ask about the fight, just say, hey, I'm doing me, I'm trying to make my own legacy. And if Cris or Amanda is going to be part of that, then so be it. You know, if they're still at the top when I'm around, then so be it. But right now, I'm not chasing the dream. You know, that's how it should be. And that's the thing. I feel like a lot of fighters today You know, a lot of these younger fighters today, they kind of rush. You know, they like to clout chase. They like to do things for a lot of views. And, you know, they like to call out big names, but they're not prepared for them. You know, they want it now. You know, before the groundwork is even there, they want the Cyborgs, they want the Mayweathers, they want the Pacquiaos, they want the Nunezes, and so on. You know, they don't want to lay down the groundwork. And, you know, they don't want to lay the foundation and work from the ground up. You know, so there's a lot of fighters out here. I think the best way to put it is like weightlifters. You know, these fighters out here, some of them like to bulk up, stick their chest out, and they like to flex and have these big upper bodies. But all the while, all you got to do is look down. And when you look down and see them little sticks they're standing on, you can tell that they skip leg day. The type of fighters that skip leg day, of course, they're the type of fighters that are strong up top. They look good up top, but when you really look closely at that foundation and see that it's weak, it can be knocked down so easily. You know, they have nothing to stand on. That's why you see when that real weight comes in and they don't know how to handle that real heavy weight that comes in and really puts pressure on them, they wind up shattering, you know, because they don't have the legs to stand on. So right now, it's time to just kind of lay that groundwork down, you know, have a strong foundation. You know, Kayla Harrison needs to just choose her own path and just stay on it, because right now I feel like she's in the middle where things can either go up or down. And because when you're in the middle, that's kind of a dangerous place to be driving. In the middle of the road is a dangerous place to drive. So you need to find your lane, you know, because the opportunities are wide open right now. You know, you can either choose to find the right way to get to a Chris Cyborg fight, or just go ahead and let the yes men tell you, hey, you're ready, let's do this in a year. And then after that, it can all just come crashing down from there. So for me, I feel like she just needs to find her own lane, you know, go through the right organizations to build up a Cyborg fight. You know, invade the Bellator division, the featherweight division, and look for those challenges, you know, because like I said, you know, you really got to build up your skills to be considered or even call out a Cyborg, you know, so you have to develop you have to develop that body, you know, you have to develop that resume, you know, stack up the bodies, build up the skill. So again, man, for all the up and comers, they just need to lay down that foundation and don't skip leg day.